Welcome back to the channel. This is The Casuals. I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And today's episode is Meal for Two. And so today's Meal for Two episode is a little bit not so it's gonna be shorter than usual, and that's because we're only gonna talk about like 3 places that we've been to very briefly. One of them is kind of a while back. I think like over 3 months, maybe over 4 months actually, ago. And so yeah, we'll just get started right away. So the first one, the first place that we want to talk about is called 808 Hawaiian Grill. It's a local place. It's not really a chain or anything, as far as I know. And we ended up going to this place just because we kind of just saw it on the Google Maps, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we were just like, hey, this looks okay, and we just kind of just went there, right? And so we went there, and I took a while to order, or took a while to decide on what I ordered, but would you want to talk about, if you even remember, because this was such a long time ago, do you want to talk about the dish that you ordered?
Yeah, so looking back at it, I did have to, go back to Google Maps and look at their menu. But I believe I ordered it was a combo plate, I believe, called the Kamoa.
Mm-hmm.
And that came with, I believe, like the grilled chicken and chicken katsu.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to play it safe. They didn't really have a very, large menu. So I was like, what sounded good? I'm like, you know what? I'll just do the chicken. I mean, you can't go wrong with chicken. It's kind of hard to mess up chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I'll get this. And then I remember you took a little bit longer because really had no idea what to get.
Yeah, I'm one of those type of person who like stares at a menu for like 5-10 minutes straight, just contemplating what I would want. I'm just that type of person, unfortunately. You've experienced that multiple times when I would just stare at the menu for a while. So it's not the first occurrence that's happened. It's happened many times. And luckily for me that you're very patient enough to wait around.
Yeah, I mean, it was a new place for both of us. I mean, I probably took like 5 minutes, but you were. I don't know if you had like Hawaiian
I
food before?
honestly, prior to 808, in my memory, I don't remember eating specifically at a Hawaiian place. I may have
Right.
had Hawaiian style food, but nothing stands out.
Yeah, so that's probably why it took you longer because you don't really know the food. I've eaten Hawaiian food before, but that not, at what is it, 808?
808.
808. I've eaten at other Hawaiian places like L&L. That's another popular chain, and The Loft. But yeah, this was new to me as well. But so I was like, I kind of knew what the food was like. So it wasn't that difficult for me. But anyways, moving on. Let's get on to the food. So the actual food, it really didn't take that long. Maybe like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I do want to add. I ordered something called the Aina. It also had grilled chicken, pulled pork, and beef short rib. And it was a standard combo plate too with rice and some other stuff.
Yeah, I think it usually comes with like some white rice, steamed white rice, and like I think it's like macaroni salad.
Yeah,
Or something
macaroni
like
salad.
that. Yeah, so that's usually what the combo plate comes with. So about the food now. My food, I was like, okay, it wasn't, anything to write home about. It was pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the katsu was, it's just like breaded chicken breast that's fried. It's not really hard to really mess that up. So I was like, okay, that's not bad. The grilled chicken, I was like, okay, it's grilled chicken. It's nothing. To me, it was like nothing super special. I think I prefer maybe the Loft or even L&L a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm more used to, I guess, their food.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I would go back.
Hmm. I
It's
think.
not,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. I was just gonna say it's not anything special to me. Like, it, I mean, it's probably closer than the other two places, but
Hmm.
I think the other two places are a little better quality to me.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it also contributes as to why you may not want to go is because the prices there were kind of pricey. I think yours was like $13 or $14, and mine was $15 to $16.
Yeah, I think mine was like 14. Now yours was closer to like 20 because that beef rib is huge, so they charge a lot for that.
I remember it being around 17.
Was it
Uh,
17? Okay, it might have been like 17 to 18 then.
yeah. Um, but in 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 honesty though, the portion size were actually not that bad overall. It's not like they shrunk it down and charged you a ridiculous amount of money, but still, it's still kind of like at that price, it still kind of makes you feel like you're left wanting more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a rip-off, but it's not necessarily like a good, we talk about deals, right? And, price, in terms of is it worth, And so in our case, no, it's not really worth just because, it's even though the food is okay and it's not like an actual rip-off, it's still, it's like you're better off buying something else, like, California Fish Grill, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, if I had to choose between the 808 or Fish Grill, I'd Fish Grill 100% every time.
Yep, same for me. For my
Yeah.
case, Aina, the only like it was pretty much the same experience. Like everything was just good, okay. It's not like amazing or anything like that. It's just good quality food. Um, the only thing that was an issue was their pulled pork, which was dry. I had noticed that it was dry, and I was just like, oh, that's kind of surprising. I didn't expect their pulled pork to be, dry and kind of almost tough in a sense.
It's
Um,
because it's not traditional like pulled pork. I think it's like smoked with like cabbage and stuff. So it's not like, a traditional pulled pork, like Texas barbecue pulled pork or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
So it is a little different, and it is kind of dry from what I remember, because I've had it, I think I've had it at L&L and I didn't care for it. It was kind of the same.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not like we're not trying to like say this business is bad or anything. It's certainly not bad. I've seen personally, I've seen worse, like actual like terrible restaurants that should have not existed. They're just simply there. It's an option. So we don't. It's not like we dislike it or anything. We just don't think. We personally do not just we do not feel like we're gonna go back to it anytime soon. I think that's our consensus here.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. Like, I mean, if I was in the area and I really wanted like Hawaiian food, I would go. But other than that, I don't think I'd really need to eat that at that specific, place again.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much it because, this is what happens when you eat food that isn't necessarily, something to write home about or, it's just normal. And so
Yeah.
we're gonna move on to the next one, which is unexpectedly kind of a different topic, in a sense, different food topic. It's a place called Dulce Canela Norwalk. And so that place is just basically, what was it called? I'm forgetting the food name already.
It's basically, they did a lot of just like fried foods, but I think they specialized in churros.
Yeah, churros. That was, oh my god, I blinked out. It was churros. And so that it was basically, yeah, their specialty was churros, and we just saw this by chance one day. I think it was on the Google review or Google Maps thing we were looking through. And so the churros, they were surprisingly good. I remember when we both went there, we kind of had low expectations because it's churros. How can it possibly be on the level of oh, this is great? You know what I mean? Because all churros are kind of the same.
Yeah. Well, I'd say there's like Disneyland churros, and then there's these Dulce Canela churros, and then there's like the bad churros of like Costco.
Yeah.
Because Costco ones I don't think are very good.
I think like for me, I categorize as freshly made churros, frozen churros, and pre-made churros that are sold in like those grocery stuff. And so those are that are freshly made. It's kind of hard to one up each other in my opinion, outside of like, unless you mess it up really bad, like too much batter or too much ratios are off, or like too much cinnamon or whatever. But other than that, they're pretty much, I would say, the same almost in a way. So I didn't have much expectations going into it. What about you?
Uh, yeah, I really didn't know what we were gonna get into, so I was just kind of like, I mean, I like churros, so I was like, all right, let's try it. So it
And
wasn't like we had like super high or super low expectations. We were just like, we're gonna get a churro, and that's pretty much it.
yep. And um, the first thing that surprised me was the price. If I remember, each churro was almost little less than $1, I would say, if I remember correctly. It's just barely. It's either better under or barely over $1. And um, I think we got five. No, we got six churros, didn't we? Three each, if I remember correctly.
It was either 6 or 8, the lowest count.
Oh yeah, it might have been eight. So we got four churros each essentially. We bought an eight piece version of the churros, and it came with two sauces, right? It was the
Yeah.
leche.
Yes, it was like forget what the actual name is, but it's like like a Mexican version of caramel or caramel. And did
We
we
got
just get like a chocolate sauce or something that goes
Yeah,
along
it
with
was,
it?
it was something like that. We got a milk, like leche sauce, and then I think like caramel chocolate type sauce. Um,
Oh, it's basically. Oh, I remember. It was sweetened condensed milk, pretty much.
yeah. And we got those two sauces, and I think they come with like the order, if I remember correctly. They don't charge you extra for that if you order like a batch of like that. Um,
Yeah, what we ordered, it came with 2 sauces of our choice.
yeah, and then the what's it called? We also got a drink, and I'm forgetting what it was. But
It was
basic,
basically Mexican hot chocolate.
yeah, that's what it basically was. And that's what we got, and we paid almost less than $10 if I remember.
No, I think it was like 12 for everything.
12
Yeah,
seems about right.
because we got 2 of the drinks because we both got one.
Oh, right. I forgot. I thought we only got one for some reason.
No, we both got a small of the Mexican hot chocolate.
Yeah. Now that I remember, yeah, we did. And so, when the prices was actually pretty low from what we expected. We expected the churro sizes to be small. Like we're talking about like less than your hand small type deal, right? But when we actually got it, we were surprised because they were actually pretty long.
I want to say like a little bit longer than like the size of a pen.
Yeah. So we were pleasantly surprised. It's not like and it wasn't really thin either. It had like a good like what's it called, diameter to it.
Yeah, they're pretty. It's kind of like a Disneyland churro size. Maybe a
Mm,
little shorter than that, but about the same like what width,
yeah.
girth.
Yeah. So we ate it and it was actually pretty good. Because I think we just didn't have any expectations going in, It turned out better than we thought, and thinking over it again, like it's a pretty damn good deal.
It was a great deal. Also, it was even better because they were, fried to order, so they were fresh.
Oh yeah, they were fresh. They weren't like ready right away. It took some time because they were actually frying it fresh. That's something we noticed. Now that I remember, I remember you were commenting. I was like, oh, they must be making it fresh.
Yeah, because usually you would just like put a churro in like the oven to warm it up if they were frozen, but it was taking them like a good like 10 minutes or so, and I was like, okay, these things are fresh then.
Yeah. And so overall, I think our verdict was definitely when you're in the mood for churros, we're like that's our go-to place.
Oh yeah, I would definitely go back. I might do maybe different sauces, or like I think they did like a churro sundae or something.
Yeah, they also had a lot of weird things like churros Sundays, like a lot of like fries stuff or something like that.
Yeah, they did have like street or not like fair
Mhm.
food, like street fair food. They had
Yeah.
like fried Oreos and chicken strips and fries and all these other things. It was basically everything was fried, but I mean, everything that tastes better fried, right?
Yeah. America.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like overall we liked it. So like definitely we would go back there when we're in a mood for churros. Overall. And so that's it really. There's nothing much to talk about because we only got the churros and we haven't really gone back ever since then. Just because we never had the craving for churros.
That is true.
So but in the future we'll definitely go back there and have another churro like eating. And so the
Yeah.
next one,
Wait, I do want to add one more
oh,
thing about the hot chocolate.
oh, go ahead.
I honestly, I tasted the hot chocolate and it just wasn't my thing. So I wouldn't get it the hot chocolate again.
Ooh, yeah. I think my issue with the hot chocolate is it kind of tasted bland.
A little bit, and it was kind of like thicker than a normal hot
Oh,
chocolate.
yeah, yeah, it
Kind. It
was
was like
thick.
unusually thick, and it was the consistency was a little weird to me, but so I personally wouldn't get that again.
Yeah. And so, that concludes that, our talk of Dulce Canela. And so, the next one we want to talk about is, again, a completely different food again. This will be the last one we're talking. This is going to be a really short episode too, but the next place we want to talk about is called Phil House. At least that's what we think it's called. And we'll get to that. The reason why we're kind of unsure about its name. And so, you introduced me to this place.
Yes, so I believe it's called the Phil House. Not 100% sure, but it's basically Filipino like food, but it was inside of a supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how some supermarkets have like a hot and ready kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically theirs, and we got chicken and pork skewers,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty good. We got what, 5 for $20?
Yes, that was the current deal that they were having.
Yeah, so it was like buy 4 get 1 free,
Yep.
pretty much. So 4 made it like $20.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got, I think, 3 chicken and 2 pork.
Yeah.
And so we ordered it. We found a random table just outside the market, and then we just started eating because we were really hungry.
Dude, we look like bums at that point.
Yeah, just kind of walking around with a bag of chicken and pork skewers, just sitting at a random table.
Yeah.
It wasn't our greatest moment, but we were hungry, so we didn't care.
I truly
yeah,
felt like what it meant to be like a college student, kind
Oh
of like
yeah,
late night
except
college student eating out.
yeah, except college students probably go even cheaper than this.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the skewers. We both tried the chicken first, and we thought it was awesome. We both thought it was
I
pretty good.
loved it.
I forget the flavor profile of it though.
I
Do you
am kind
remember?
of forgetting about it, yeah. I think because I think the reason why is the pork one is the one that stuck to my memory more.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't necessarily good, so I guess I'll talk about that. So after we tried the chicken, we finished it up. We were like, all right, let's try the pork, right? And going into the pork, I had high expectations just because the chicken was so good, right? And I never really had pork, grilled skewers from this kind of, I guess, Filipino establishment in the first place or anywhere. And so when I ate it, I just remember thinking, oh my god, it's like sour. Tangy sour.
Yeah, there was like a vinegary flavor to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind it. I liked the chicken and the pork because I've had it before, but so I didn't really mind. But I knew you didn't care for the pork that much.
Yeah, and the reason why I didn't like it was because so for me personally, combining that sourness with like kind of like a sticky sauce, it's sticky.
Yeah, the sauces were both sticky for the chicken and the pork.
And then like the pork was kind of like gelatinous in a way, almost closer to chewy gelatinous, I want to say, at times.
It's because they keep some of the fat on there,
Yeah.
and it's not like cooked. I don't know if it's cooked like 100% of the way through, so it's not like it melts in your mouth. It's a little more have a bite to it.
Yeah.
And I know you did not like that.
Yeah, I didn't. It's just for me. I don't find fault in the fact that the way they made it. It's just not my preference. Rather, it was still decent. I can see why it's good, right? But for someone like me, I just could not enjoy it as much. I finished the whole thing because I started eating it. I might as well finish the whole thing. But I just preferred the chicken way more just because I did not like that sour, sticky profile overall. But that's just a matter of preference. It's not like, a bad thing. So I'd say if you like that kind of stuff, like sour, sticky, you don't like sour, sticky, and like, kind of like a heavier, greasiness to it, with like the chewiness as I described earlier with the fat being on there, then this was perfect, for you to get if you were ever to go to Phil House. And speaking of Phil House, the reason why we don't know the name is because when we went there is no sign indicating what the name is at all.
Yeah, it's in a market called Island Pacific.
Yeah, and so we had to look it up, and the only hint I got was like a photo from the past called, and it literally shows Phil House. And so that's why we call it Phil House, because that's the only thing we have is from like the Google past, or someone took a photo of it in the past and uploaded it on Google reviews or something like that. And so yeah, that's we don't know exactly the name. It could have changed, it could have gone through some other names. It's just in a supermarket called Island Pacific, as Saki said earlier. But overall verdict, I would say, because they have a lot of other fried foods too, but we haven't tried them. We specifically only tried the grilled skewers during that time.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back and try some more variety of their food. I don't know.
It is a little bit pricey.
It is.
The other food.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I would agree. And even then, the skewers themselves are quote unquote kind of pricey, just for like an average person.
Yeah, they are a little pricey, but I mean, there are pretty big chunks of meat, I would say, which I guess is all right if they're gonna charge, $4 or $5 per skewer.
Yeah. So overall, I'm pretty much neutral to it.
Yeah, I like that place. So I would go back. I'd go back.
I would only go back for the chicken skewers, and if they were doing like the buy 4 get 1 free deal.
Honestly, I think that's just like a consistent deal, because I went there years before like COVID. I want to say like maybe 2018. And it was still buy 4 get 1.
They just act like it's like a temporary promotion, but it's just constantly there.
Yeah, it was there years ago, so I assume it's just like a consistent thing there.
But yeah, that's overall our talk. It's a little bit messy today, but that's pretty much it for meal for 2. And so I want to get on to the next topic before we end up the episode. So next week, if I am almost 100% sure I am correct by this. Next week is our 6 months anniversary. Till this date, together, us as a duo, we have uploaded, with this episode coming out, 25? Yeah. 26 episodes with this one. And so the next one will be the 27th episode, which marks the halfway point for 54 weeks. And some of you, whoever happens to be watching this, that is not us, maybe be like, but wait, you already have 27 episodes right now. That's because I recorded 2 other episodes with other people, and they don't count. So going by the weekly basis of our episodes, it's still at the count of 25, and this would be the 26th, and then the next one would be the anniversary one after that. And so next week's episode is going to be a little bit different, or vastly different. It's going to be more of a free talk, and we're just going to basically talk about, what led, or what has gone up to this point in our lives, I guess, for, the casuals, what we think about it and everything. It's going to be a little bit more special, I would say. It's probably going to be a very long one, hence why I don't mind making this a lot shorter than usual. So I just want to get out there, if you happen to be watching this, next week is going to be our anniversary, and there may be some announcements, there may not be, who knows. But yeah, for now, I'll just, end this episode for here. So, I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And this is The Casuals, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.